You ever on social media and it seems like everyone's doing better than you? You'll see someone who bought a new car, a new house, your friend started their new business venture, your younger sibling is getting married, and you begin to think about your own life and you begin to feel down because you feel like you haven't achieved anything. If this sounds all too familiar, you'll want to check out this video right here because we'll be discussing the effects of comparison on mental health. Isaiah Banks, mental health therapist, personal trainer. Welcome to the channel. So today we'll be discussing the effects of comparison on our mental health. We'll go over the origins, the effects, as well as some solutions to combat those effects. Now we'll go into the origins of comparison. So if you think about it, we've been conditioned to compare ourselves to others. Think back to elementary school when you were given that pop quiz for maybe math or science or spelling. And the students that did well, they were given a reward. Maybe it was a sticker, it was a class job, but they were reinforced to continue getting those good grades. And same thing with behaviors. If a student did well throughout a certain duration, that student was given a reward. So again, they were reinforced. But with that being said, there were students who didn't do so well. Maybe they didn't do well academically or behaviorally, but they weren't given rewards. And so that comparison was made within that instance. Maybe that child didn't say anything because they're a child, but they noticed the good students. They noticed the ones that were always giving the stickers, right? They noticed. And it's the same thing when you think about middle school, right? Academically, the students who did well, they got reinforced, whether it was directly or indirectly. And at the middle school level too, and even into high school, you could think about now students are starting to play sports and how on teams you would have those students who did well athletically. They were made captains. They were given the pizza parties, right? Their names were shouted out the most. And on the other side, there were students on the team who didn't do so well. The supporting cast, their names weren't shouted out as much. So a comparison was made there. And if we go into high school, let's think about physical education class and how a lot of the times in gym class, students had to run laps. And it was always a group of students who excelled athletically. So they were able to do laps fairly quickly because they already played sports or were just athletic naturally. And how on the other side, there were students who weren't so athletic. And that athlete would be entering their second lap and he'll pass by the students who struggled with just that first lap. And so that student who did well athletically was given the good grades, right? He was able to be encouraged to continue with the laps and continue moving forward, right? So a comparison was made there because the students who were not able to do the lap or struggled with the laps, they didn't do so well. They weren't given that good grade, you say. So, right, we have to keep in mind, right, comparisons was made all across our lives. And even thinking back to something else came up, college and tuition, and how there were some students who were given scholarships that covered their tuitions. And there were some other students who were given many different offers. Like there will be a student who have 10 scholarships from 10 different schools, all full ride. And there'll be other students who maybe didn't get one or two, right? So that comparison was made there. So again, across our lives, we were comparing, and societally, it was reinforced. So when it comes down to our adulthood, all the times we were compared still is within us. Whatever our feeling is around the comparisons is still within us. And of course, another origin of comparison is social media. Social media has been a huge factor in regards to people's mental health with seeing others' lives because it's so instant, and how someone can simply pick up their phone, go on an app, and then see their friends see their favorite celebrity, see their family, all within maybe 30 seconds. And how a lot of the times when people post on social media, it's typically that perfect image, right? It's always that picture of them on their vacation island, driving their new fancy car, living in that luxurious house. And a lot of the times, this stuff is not always real. It's not always true, or it may not even be theirs, you see. But just the comparison of seeing that in general causes one to be down. It causes one to feel like their own life accomplishments, their own successes, their own positive aspects is diminished. And to them, they may not see that accomplishment that they just accomplished as important because they just seen someone else's and that comparison was made. So social media has been a huge detriment when it's not managed right, and when one goes on social media with a certain image and a certain mindset and perception of things, that's when it's at its worst. And this can have a huge effect on one's idea about themselves, the world, and about life in general, right? So social media is huge in regards to that comparison piece. There are many negative effects of comparing yourself to others. So the first one is it's emotionally draining, right? And this makes perfect sense because when you go on social media, when you compare yourself to others, your own idea of the world is changed. In your mind, your accomplishments don't mean anything, and you have not done enough. That's what you tell yourself. And this can cause you to feel sad, depressed, hopeless, and be even pessimistic because you'll see your own accomplishments as small and everyone else's is huge, ginormous. So that emotional drain is going to be there. And the comparison piece can also cause you to overwork yourself. Because if you think that everyone is more successful than you, they're more accomplished, they're further in life than you are, you're going to push yourself to the max. This is going to cause you to work longer hours, put in more work, and maybe even destroy yourself just trying to catch up to your idea of people. Not even the reality, not even the truth of the person, but just the idea of the person. And to be frank, it could be someone's truth. There are celebrities that do make millions of dollars, that do live in mansions. That's a reality. But in your mind, you think that you're supposed to have that right now. You think that you're supposed to own a huge property, drive a new fancy car today. And you don't see the work they put in. You don't see the hours of blood, sweat, and tears that the celebrity put in or this athlete put in. You just see the end result, right? Or if the idea was curated to look real, you don't see the amount of Photoshop and how doctored up the picture is, you see. But you still chasing something. You're still overworking yourself to try to get to that finish line, whatever you believe that finish line is. So now we'll be discussing solutions. The first solution is to become self-aware. Self-awareness is so key in so many different aspects of life. This is no different. So when it comes down to social media or coming down to you comparing yourself in general, you have to be mindful that's even happening. How would you be mindful? You could be mindful that you're comparing yourself by, if you look at someone and you feel jealousy, right? If you feel a bit of hatred or that you wish you could take that from them, then that is a sign that you are negatively comparing yourself. And you want to be mindful of this because you can maybe remove yourself. Maybe you can just try to reframe you comparing yourself to others as a negative thing. You can make it a positive, right? By being motivated by seeing other people. But it first starts with you acknowledging that you have this feeling. And after that, you can start to make changes as a result of acknowledging it first. Second solution is to limit exposure. Let's stay with social media, for example. Let's say that you are on social media for about 6 hours a day. You can limit this by setting a timer or just keeping track of maybe limiting it down to 2 hours a day or 3 hours a day. But you're making sure that you put a block on how long you're going to be on that app. And so this is very important for you to be able to manage those feelings, those negative effects that we talked about earlier. You'll be able to do that by being mindful of how long you're on and setting that limit for how long you're going to be within that app, right? How long you're going to be viewing that content. So a lot of iPhones too, they help you by being able to tell you how long you've been on the app, and they may even give you reports that you're on for this amount of time, and you could just cut that time in half or set up a goal of how long you think would be appropriate for you to be on the app, and then just act accordingly based off of that. Gratitude is a key aspect of life in general. It's incredibly important when you're talking about comparison to others, and how for you can simply be thankful of many different things in your life. You could be thankful of the fact that you woke up this morning. You could be grateful of the fact that both your parents are still alive. You could be appreciative of the fact that you never missed a meal. So whatever thing, whatever person you are grateful for, you have to be mindful of that. You have to keep in mind that you have something that someone else may want, someone else may need. You have something that someone doesn't have. And for you, maybe you can write this on a sticky note or in a journal, or maybe make a post, but you have to remind yourself of the things you're grateful for, and how comparison typically is a thief of your joy, right? So be thankful, be grateful that you're here, be appreciative of the space that you're currently in, because you never know when it can all change. And I'll leave you with a quote. It says, every minute you spend wishing you had someone else's life is a minute you spend wasting yours. So let's think about that. Let's remind ourselves of that, and how important we are in life, and how we have a purpose. So we have to stay focused on that purpose, on that journey. And your journey is not going to be like anyone else's, and that's okay. So that's what I'm going to leave you with today. Hope you found these tips helpful. Feel free to like, comment. If you're not already, please subscribe. Share this video and let me know your thoughts. Thank you and take care.